friends, today we're going to talk about treasures of wickedness. Treasures of wickedness. The Bible describes ill-gotten wealth as treasures of wickedness. It also describes it as filthy lucre. Treasures of wickedness are treasures people acquire by practicing and promoting wickedness. Wickedness is the personal pursuit of pleasure and profit at the expense of other people's pain and loss. People have accumulated wealth in so many wicked ways. God does not want his children to make money in evil and wicked ways. When undocumented immigrants work for people, they use them like slaves, and they don't pay them what they should pay them. And the excuse they give is that he does not have paper. My friend, whatever money you make and save that way is a treasure of wickedness. See what Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 22. Follow me as I read verse 13. Jeremiah 22, verse 13. See what it says. Woe unto him that builded his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work. When people work for you, they deserve to be paid. God expects you to pay them for their labor. Don't take advantage of people. Some have accumulated wealth by taking the lives of other people, either directly or indirectly. Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. That is treasure of wickedness. Are you making money by betraying people to their death? Their blood is on your hands. Jezebel killed Naboth to take his family vineyard for Ahab, her husband. Go with me to 1 Kings 21 and follow me as I read verse 1 to 10 to remind you that story of Jezebel. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Hard by the palace means it's very close to the palace of Ahab. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. And I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said unto Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased. because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die. Jezebel killed Naboth to take his family vineyard for Ahab, her husband, and see how she did it. She proclaimed a fast. Naboth went here to worship. Naboth went here fasting. And he was killed because of the covetousness of Ahab. Treasures of wickedness. Some have accumulated wealth by taking away the liberty of other people. They used violence and intimidation to force others to make money for them. You have heard of human trafficking for forced labor and commercial sex exploitation. People go into poor communities, into poor countries, into poor villages, and they lie to these young girls. You're going to come to America. You're going to be a model. And they bring these daughters of these poor families into foreign country and turn them into prostitutes. Prostitutes that they get paid for. Treasures of wickedness. Go with me to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 4. I will read verse 1. 2 Kings chapter 4. I will read just verse 1. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord, and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. This woman was the wife of a prophet. She had 2 sons. Somehow, the prophet borrowed money from this creditor and couldn't pay it before he died. The creditor now went and took the 2 sons. Please let me ask you, is there any amount that the prophet could have owed this creditor that would justify taking two sons? The creditor did not need both sons to work for him to pay off the debt of their father, but he did it because he could get away with it. This is what widows and fatherless children go through. You have to watch out for them. You have to watch out for children that have no fathers. You have to watch out for women that have no husbands, because they are likely to be oppressed and taken advantage of by people who gather treasures of wickedness. Money lenders in the villages and the rural areas, they take advantage of the poor and the needy by offering them loans at very high interest rates against the little valuable items those people have, like land, like gold. It is this blatant disregard for the life, labor, and liberty of others that makes the personal pursuit of profit at the expense of other people's loss wickedness. You cannot do it. You cannot love money above the life of other people. You cannot love money above the liberty of other people. You cannot love money above the labor of other people. They work for you, you make sure you pay them. Every human being has a natural, God-given right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. People who gather treasures of wickedness, they come up with wicked ways to violate these God-given rights. You love life, so do they. You like to be happy, so do they. Why does your happiness have to cost them sorrow? Treasures of wickedness. Abortion doctors, they will deny the life and humanity of the baby in the womb just to justify the abortion. The European slave traders, they denied the humanity of the Africans to justify the slave trade. They wanted to capture people from their homes and sell them like commodities in the market, and they wanted to feel good about it. And the strategy was to deny that they're human beings. They say they are not human, they are subhuman. If you look very well, they have tails. My friends, the truth is that the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is given to everybody by God, regardless of age, gender, race, or class. There are husbands who deny willing and able-bodied women they get married to the opportunity to work just to feel good about themselves as men. And then they turn around to make the lives of the women a living hell. You marry a woman, she's not blind, she's not lame, but because you want to feel good, you say she cannot work. And then you make her beg you for every penny she needs, for everything she needs to do. How do you think that feels? This these men that do these things, when you see them outside, they appear to be more generous and helpful to other women than they are to their own wives. And because of the way they behave outside, they make it difficult for their wives to get help. Because people don't believe. Who will believe you if your husband just gave them $100 and you're telling them that you couldn't get him to give you $10 to buy nail polish? Who will believe you? Wickedness. There are children who force their parents out of their own homes into nursing homes just so they can take over the homes and the valuables of their parents. Treasures of wickedness. That was what Solomon was talking about in our first lesson. Proverbs chapter 10. Follow me as I read verse 2 to 4. Proverbs chapter 10. I will read 2 to 4. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Don't give up. What a fish will eat will not swim past it. God sees you. Stay true. Stay faithful. Work hard. Beg and borrow if you have to. But do not gather treasures of wickedness. Don't use free labor. Don't take lives for money. And do not deny people liberty. Don't force anybody to do anything for you, even if it will save your life. Your life is not in anybody's hand. See what Solomon said in that verse 15, that first lesson. He said, the rich man's wealth is a strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. Anytime you make money by destroying the lives of people because you can, that is the beginning of your end right there. That is what it means when it says the rich man's wealth is a strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. Because God will come and God will fight for them. I want you to understand me clearly. There is nothing wrong with making profit. There is nothing wrong with wanting to prosper. God promised Abraham prosperity. The plan of God for his people is for them to prosper, but not at the expense of the life, labor, and liberty of other people. Let's go back to that first lesson, Proverbs 10. I will read 6 through 8 now. Proverbs 10, 6 to 8. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. My friends, it is important that we do reward people adequately for their labor for us. It is important that we do not put our profit above the lives of other people who work for us. It is important that we do not limit the liberty of the people for our own selfish interest. God does not like that. If you do that, whatever money you make, whatever land you have, whatever precious metal you acquire, by denying people liberty, by dishonoring their labor, and by taking their lives, everything that you acquire by doing this is a treasure of wickedness. You should not do it. It does not matter how hard it gets. Don't do this one. See what Paul told Timothy in 1 Timothy chapter 6. I will read 6 to 10. 1 Timothy chapter 6, 6 to 10. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Money is important, but it is no more important than the life of other people. Money is important, but it is no more important than the labor of other people. Money is important, but it is no more important than the liberty of other people. As a matter of fact, money is only as important as it preserves life, honors labor, and promotes liberty, especially in the church. It matters how the church makes and spends money. It matters. The work of God cannot just be about making money. It is not a good thing that elders are dropping dead from heart attacks and stroking out from hypertension in our midst, because they cannot afford blood pressure and blood sugar medications. And we are busy buying lands and building bigger and better cathedrals. It is not a good thing for a church to levy people for money. The support for the work of God is supposed to be by free will offering of the people. You see, when you levy people, you interfere with the liberty of the people. The making of money at the expense of other people's life, labor, and liberty is a dark and evil endeavor. This type of ill-gotten wealth accumulated at the expense of other people's life, labor, and liberty is what the Bible calls treasures of wickedness. And they do not belong in the church. Go to that second lesson. 1 John chapter 1. Follow me as I read verse 5 through 7. 1 John chapter 1. I will read 5 to 7. It says, This then is the message which we have heard of him, and declare unto you that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Verse 6 says, if we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. To walk in darkness means to do things you know you should not do, and leave undone the things you know you should have done, and then hope that nobody finds out about them. It means to sneak around and do things in secret because you're not proud of them. You have to walk in darkness to gather treasures of wickedness. In verse 7 it says, but if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanseth us from all sins. It is difficult to accumulate treasures of wickedness when we walk in the light and have fellowship one with another. Because you see, when we have true fellowship with one another, we will not allow anybody to make money at the expense of another person's life, labor, and liberty. It will matter to us how we make money, and it will matter to us how we spend money in the name of God. I'm going to close with Ephesians 5. I will read 8 to 12. Ephesians 5. Follow me as I read 8 to 12. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. Eric Hoffer, in his first book titled The True Believer, Thoughts on the Nature of Mass Movements, said something very important. He said, every great cause begins as a movement. Then it becomes a business and eventually degenerates into a racket. When the eternal sacred order of the cherubim and seraphim started, it was a great movement. It was not business, and it was not racket. It was a great movement started for the salvation of souls, with a particular emphasis on the souls of Africans. I want to ask you a question. Are you keeping to it as a movement? Or are you turning it into a business? Or have you converted it altogether into a racket? You need to answer that question for yourself. My friends, treasures of wickedness will not profit you. Now to God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy